What will the future of work look like? This seemingly age-old question has taken on increasing importance as many leading experts think that most of our jobs will soon be done by machines. Yet if this is the case, then what would that mean for how humans make their living and how people spend their time? Many future-thinking people have been asking these exact questions for years.
Ah, my office. The perfect office. Perspex desk, no in tray, no out tray, no phone, no filing cabinets, no clutter. Quiet, cool, very efficient. I need never get out of this chair. That'll be nice. No distractions. Just me and the work. Alone and efficient. Certainly free to get a lot of work done with no human distractions. Much better than a human being. Tireless and efficient. Anything I want, it brings. Even company.
Gentlemen, I'm just off to New York. Before I go, don't get charged.
Although it looks funny to us now, they did get a few things right. That video screen looks a bit like Skype, and scanning and sending documents and images is something we do with our printers and smartphones all the time. What I think they got wrong in this clip is that there are no people. I believe that the future is people-led and people empowered by a new kind of work. The Open University is an institution that's been breaking the mold for years by allowing people to learn new skills in their own time, anywhere in the world. So we've put together a team of experts to try and do a better job of predicting the future. We've done this by talking to people already working in new and creative ways to see if we can pinpoint what the future of work and society may actually look like. Someone who's been at the cutting edge of thinking about the future of humanity and the world is author James Hughes. In his seminal text, Citizen Cyborg, he predicts an exciting future of transhumanism. But what precisely is transhumanism? Well, in the simplest terms, transhumanism is the belief that present and future technology can transform human existence. It looks at the ways in which technology, for both good and bad, can make a real difference in how we live, act, and even conceive ourselves as human beings. How did you begin thinking about the question of technology and politics and its relationship to the future?
In the early 2000s, the politics of human enhancement technologies really began to take off. So that was the context in which I wrote Citizen Cyborg. And I was exploring these questions of what a citizenship identity could be in a world that was rapidly becoming more diverse in the forms of intelligent, sentient beings that inhabit it. And then we began to see in the last 18 months the growth of Trumpism, Putinism, Duterte, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And things were happening in the futurist and transhumanist space where people were getting very interested in electoral politics. And I think we're beginning to see not transhumanism per se, but we're beginning to see the left begin to grapple with some of the issues of the future. You know, here in Boston, the socialist youth, the millennials who've all begun to flood into the left organizations, it ripples off their tongue, fully automated luxury communism. It's just assumed that there's going to be this new paradigm of post-work luxury. So at least in some of those basic political economy issues, I think we're beginning to see the emergence of a new future-informed politics.
I would say that there's a much stronger, particularly within the left and particularly within young people, a kind of discussion about, are we going to have jobs and do we even want jobs? And I think that is a big movement to, from a post-employment fear to a post-work hope. And that's beginning to happen. But I think going back, one of the kind of questions that I have is that how do you see helping people move from a kind of ideological abstract debate to actually begin thinking about in their own lives what this could concretely mean?
If you talk to people now and you tell them, Well, it's possible that we could have technologies in 10, 15 years that stop the aging process, and eventually they might even reverse it, and that death might become more or less optional at some point in the future. Most people say, oh, that sounds terrible, and what about this, and what about that? And most of that's sour grapes thinking. Very few people who are 90 years old commit suicide. Most people, if they're offered an extra couple years of life, will take it. So I think when we get there, they will take it. But the sour grapes is, I don't really believe yet that that is going to be on the table. So I have to reject that and still buy into and affirm a paradigm in which death is good. And the same thing with a post-work society, that as long as people don't believe post-work affluence is possible, then they have to just reject the whole paradigm and say, well, a society of moochers, they'll just all sit in front of their TV. Wouldn't that be terrible? So at some point with all these issues, there's going to be a tipping point where so many people are unemployed or dramatically suddenly in 1 year lose their jobs because of automation, that people begin to say, wait a minute, is there another way to do this? Where some new breakthrough changes the paradigm around aging, and people say, oh, maybe there is a possibility of us all living a long time. Let's start thinking about how that's going to work. We need to prepare, those of us who have a kind of techno-progressive vision for this, we need to prepare to make sure it goes one way and not another.
What do you see as, like you said, tipping point questions around empowerment and technology that are really going to help define a debate and really kind of shape some of the ways in which we're thinking about the future and seeking to, transform the future?
I've tried to back out of prediction because, as long as my dad got me a subscription to the Futurist magazine when I was like 12. And he took me into his workplace and taught me to learn BASIC when I was 13 with punch cards, because he said, son, computers are the future. You have to know BASIC. He was right about the computers. He was wrong about the BASIC. And throughout, 25 years ago, I was sure that we were on the cusp of having anti-aging therapies, pills for obesity, artificial intelligence was around the corner, and so forth. And, all these things take a lot more time than the futurists tend to estimate. I wouldn't try to predict what's going to happen in the next 5 years, but it's clear that things are changing very rapidly, very chaotically, very unexpectedly in the geopolitical domain, that new technologies continue to emerge at an unpredictable rate. We have to sketch them out in the broadest possible way and sketch out the future that we want to create beyond those possibilities, because we just don't know when they're going to come. It might come next week. It might come in 15 years. Whenever it comes, we have to be prepared to ensure that we get to an egalitarian, liberal, and prosperous future.
Get more from the Open University. Check out the links on screen now.